for yielding, and I rise in strong support of the alternative budget developed by the Congressional Black Caucus in coalition with the House Progressive Caucus and offered today as the Mfumi substitute. Frankly, Mr. Chairman, I don't support every single line of this budget. I would have gone further in the direction of shifting some of the tax burden, which for a dozen years was transferred to working people and the middle class, back to the upper class and to the wealthy, so that they can finally begin to pay their fair share of taxes. But there is no question but that this budget is far preferable to the administration's budget and far, far preferable to the Republican budget. And once again, as it has been the case in many years in the past, this budget becomes the conscience of the United States Congress. Mr. Speaker, I think there is no doubt, there should be no doubt, as to what has happened to America in the last dozen years. I have heard reference a moment ago to the issue of class warfare. And it is true, in fact, that that is precisely what has gone on in this country over the last dozen years, and the headlines of today's newspapers reflect that reality. What has gone on is that the wealthiest people in this country have become much wealthier. The middle class has shrunken, and today we have a significant increase in poverty. And for our poorest people, we now have some 2 million Americans sleeping out on the street, and we have 5 million children in this country who are hungry. And I must say to my colleagues in the House that it should be an absolute national disgrace that we should work to resolve every day that the United States, with 22% of its children living in poverty, has by far the highest rate of poverty among children in the industrialized world. And when we talk about priorities, maybe we should not be worrying about spending $100 billion a year defending Western Europe and Asia. Maybe we should not be talking about space stations and supersonic colliders and more nuclear weapons. Maybe we should say that tomorrow we're going to end the disgrace of childhood hunger in America, end the disgrace of 2 million people sleeping out on the street. The gentleman from Ohio talked about class warfare, and let us refer to the fact that while the children grow hungry, the number of billionaires in this country has grown. Let us talk about the fact that the chief executive officers of the largest corporations now make 157 times more than the workers of those corporations. If that is not class warfare, what is class warfare? I would ask for one more.
I'd yield the gentleman in one additional minute, Mr. Chairman.
Let me simply conclude by urging the members of the House to support the Congressional Black Caucus budget. It begins to move us in the right direction. It offers some sane priorities in terms of how the United States Congress should go. The people of America are hurting. They are upset about the inequality in wealth. They are upset about the hunger that our children are facing. Let us change the priorities of America. Let's support the Congressional Black Caucus budget that was prepared in coalition with the Progressive Caucus. And I thank the gentleman very much for